6 races to go until the playoffs start, and a very tight battle along the cut line. The points difference between 15th and 17th, just 2 points. So Bubba Wallace, Michael McDowell, Daniel Suarez have to be sweating at this point. And there's some big names not in the picture and maybe some surprises currently in the picture. So, Parker, we'll start with you. Who's surprising you at this point?
Well, you have to point out Michael McDowell and what he's pulling off of that Front Row Motorsports team. And this is just incredible. You know, it started 3 years ago and his handpicking of the people on that race team. And now we're continually seeing him just go up there and put together great seasons. And this is just something that's basically unheard of in the NASCAR Cup Series level, on the budget that they have to be this good this late in the season, to be pointing their way into the playoffs. I don't know if we've ever seen it before. And I'm a huge fan of the movie Moneyball. If you want a version of Moneyball in the NASCAR Cup Series in 2023, it's Michael McDowell and that 34 team. The other driver I think that sticks out to me is AJ Allmendinger. You know, he was brought into Kaulig, I think, under popular perception to be the guy to go win them a road course race and then get them in the playoffs that way. Well, there he is sitting with a chance to make it on points with 6 races ago. So I think he's put together an excellent season in that car for Kaulig Racing. And then you think about this. If Michael McDowell makes it, if AJ Allmendinger makes it, you got Brad Keselowski, who's in a great position. That is 3 drivers, 38 years old and older right now, that are going to push out guys like Daniel Suarez, Ty Gibbs, Alex Bowman, maybe Bubba Wallace, the young guns. So this is sort of also a bit of a experience first, and not even experience. I guess it's, almost the older age or towards the 40s versus drivers in their 20s and early 30s. So I think this is a really interesting battle amongst all those drivers for different reasons, and age being one of them.
Yeah, listen, it's an incredibly interesting battle among the drivers. But I'll go back. And I want to mention a different, and take a different tact, a different angle. I'm going to mention organizations here. We're talking RFK. We're talking Front Row. We're talking Kaulig Racing. We're talking kicking out Hendrick Motorsports, 2311, Trackhouse. We're talking multi-million-dollar sponsors, huge companies, huge corporations being knocked out by that little dog, or the little dog in the fight here. And Parker mentioned it, Moneyball. These teams have established themselves as contenders week in and week out. They go out, they take points. They get a couple of stage points here. They have great finishes and great runs on smaller budgets. And I think that's a huge statement for these organizations, because with this success, they'll rise. They'll rise. They'll have different sponsors. They'll have more money. They'll be able to build on the success that they're having right now. So many times we get caught up in this driver's in, this driver's out, this driver's in, this driver's out, who's moving forward, who's moving backwards. And in the end, I look at the organization. Hendrick is sitting here right now, two teams outside that top 16. That's a big statement. 2311 and Trackhouse on the bubble, that's a big statement. When you start talking RFK with 2 cars inside that bubble, Front Row with 2 cars inside that bubble. So it's going to be interesting as we talk drivers, but it's going to be really interesting as these guys put a pencil to paper and start talking dollars and cents moving forward.
Okay, so there was some flip-flopping at the cut line. There was also some flip-flopping up at the top. The points leader going into New Hampshire, William Byron. Coming out, Martin Truex Jr. Still a couple of drivers in striking distance of that as well. Those 15 playoff points are up for grabs for the regular season champ. I would still say we haven't seen a driver break out and be a dominant force. Are we going to start seeing that, or is it going to be continuing like this back and forth until we get to Daytona or kick things off at Darlington? What's going to happen with the top of the points?
I'll chime in here.
Well, go ahead.
Let me chime first. I'm going to chime in here because this is what I'm going to say. I don't think anyone has established themselves as the guy yet. Racing is such a cyclical sport. And with this new car over the last couple of years, you see guys get on hot streaks and they get hot for a couple of weeks and then they fall off. So I don't think we've seen the end all, and it's going to get tight. I'm a little disappointed, and I'm going to go on the record to say it. Christopher Bell, if he could have Chicago back and have New Hampshire back, he's in the mix with those top 3. But there's 2 races they left points on the table at the end of the day, and you can't do that. That is the one thing when I look at Truex, when I look at some of these other teams that are up there. Joey Logano is a perfect example of a team that we're not talking about a lot, but still just keeps making something from nothing. So I don't think there's a team that has really established itself, not in my eyes yet anyhow, because as we go and you say 6 races, there can be a massive swing in 6 races.
Kyle, it's a good point, but I think the other two you have to look at first and foremost is Martin Truex Jr. and obviously William Byron, and that those teams, when they're on, like we saw Martin the other day at New Hampshire, they can be dominant. When they're off, they can struggle, like we saw what happened to William at New Hampshire. So I think those two have been the clearest cut of the drivers and teams that when they're on, there's dominance there. But they have had the struggles we've seen out of the others. The other one that sticks out to me that I don't think a lot of people have been paying much attention to for some reason, that would be the number 8 of Kyle Busch and Richard Childress Racing. They're in the top 5 within striking distance of the top 3 in regular season points with some good fortune, could possibly be fighting for this regular season title. I think that's an unbelievable story for that 8 car and what Kyle Busch is doing at Richard Childress Racing and being able to put that team in definite championship contention. They've had multiple wins this year. And I really think if he can come out of the regular season somewhere around that top 3, man, that is, to me, a team and a driver that is so motivated to make it to the championship 4 and then to show everyone what they can do in that championship 4 and what he could do at an organization like Richard Childress Racing to bring them to the championship forefront. I think that's an incredibly interesting storyline to follow as we go through these last regular season races.
Hi, I'm Parker Kligerman. For more access like this from Pit Road, be sure to click and subscribe to the Motorsports on NBC YouTube channel.